This boom mic, yeah, gets, oh, gee. Hello and welcome to a Bitter Lemon Tech Tip. Today we're going to talk about radios. Now I know this is a subject that could easily span hours and hours worth of video, not something we want to get into today. We don't have time for it. All I really want to show everyone is how we've solved this problem, what trade-offs we've made, and how much money we've spent. I know that other people are going to want to spend more or less money for different kinds of trade-offs. I would love to hear those in the comment section, but for now I'm just going to go in and just basically showcase how we've solved this problem and hopefully give people an idea of how to solve it for not much money and get a really good solution, especially for the money, okay? So the first thing that we obviously need is a radio. What we've standardized on is the Baofeng brand radio. These are Chinese made units. As a result, they're very cheap. This is the UV82 radio. I recommend specifically this one. Baofeng makes better ones and worse ones in terms of their lineup. This one's nicely programmable for different kinds of things. We'll get to that in a minute. It has dual PTT buttons. We'll also get to that in a minute. And it's just really good value for money. You can get these for 25 to 50 bucks depending on the season and the day and whether it's a holiday or not. I just picked up another one because they're so cheap. And really at that price, you can outfit everyone in your team, including the pit crew and including the people who make your food and who might be peripheral to the entire thing, but just as important, and you might want to coordinate with them as well when you go to the bathroom or when you have the car coming in, et cetera, et cetera. You can give them radios too, and that's just really cool. Okay, so here's one of these radios. This is what it looks like when it's assembled. It has a little antenna, it has a clip for your belt, and then otherwise it has a keypad that we almost never use. Use this for programming it. It has dual PTT buttons, so it has an up and a down button to talk. That's really, really useful because you can put two different channels on here, and that means you can for instance, use one channel for the car and one channel for your pits, and that lets you coordinate within the pits about stuff that the driver really doesn't need to know, but everyone can receive on the driver channel. And you can also talk on the driver channel, but you only talk to the driver about stuff that they really need to know, which ideally is almost nothing, right? At least I don't like to be talked to when I'm driving. The other thing that these radios have is they have a Kenwood style, I think they basically ripped this off of Kenwood style connection plug here that lets you mount or connect different kinds of headsets. You can have the like big earmuffs with the button on the side that you see on like Formula One pits. You can have the like secret agent style thing. And if it has a Kenwood style plug, it'll be compatible with this and you can go nuts in the aftermarket. Sometimes, depending on which iteration of this radio, they even come with a headset of sorts. Okay, so you get each team member or however many pit radios you want, you get them, and you get one for the car, obviously. Now, this is where it gets interesting. We have to mount this thing in the car, we have to connect it to the driver, and we have to make it all work, right? So let's talk about that. Okay, so let's say this is your car radio. You'll notice we have a different antenna attachment. We'll get to that at the end. But basically, of course, we don't have the clip for the belt, but basically it's just another one of these. Now we need a way to mount it in the car and hook it up to basically a push to talk button that you can press while you're driving, and to a microphone and some earphones that are in your driver's helmet, right? And for that, you can buy all of this in a kit that costs about 100 bucks, maybe a little more these days. You can find these on eBay. You get a box and you get a harness. All right, let's talk about the box really quickly. Not much to it. You get some hose clamps, you mount it to the cage, the dash bar. There's some foam in here. You shove the radio in here at the beginning of the day. You turn it on, adjust the volume to the driver's content, and you're done. We found that these radio batteries, they last easily 8 hours, so they'll last a whole day. If for some reason they don't, it's very easy to swap out. You just pull the radio out. You have to reconnect the antenna and this harness, but that's seconds. So you can easily do that during a driver swap. Otherwise, you just leave it on. Don't forget get to obviously charge it at the end of the day, but you don't have to worry about hooking up some sort of hokey charging solution inside the car, hook it up to 12 volts or anything like that. Like, keep it simple, okay? So that's as far as this is concerned, easy to mount. We typically mount this on the passenger side of the cage and then run the wiring harness to the driver's side. That way, whoever's helping the driver belt in on the passenger side would also be the one who would deal with any kind of radio issues, for instance, adjusting the volume or something like that, doing a radio check. Let's talk about the harness really quickly. So this is the plug that I mentioned. It plugs into the radio here on the side. And this is the sort of Kenwood style plug that all of these, anything that is going to be a headset or a harness for these radios will plug in here. And then from there, it has some connectors to make it easy to assemble. From there, it splits into two sections. One section connects to the driver, and then the other section connects to your push-to-talk button. So what we do is we just got the kit that has a Velcro button and some like, I don't know, ring cable or whatever you call this. We just Velcro this to a steering wheel spoke. That way, when you're racing, when you're driving, all you need to do is push it with your thumb in order to talk, and you don't have to take your hands off the steering wheel. You don't have to like take your gaze off the road, off the course. You don't have, in order to push a button or anything like that. You have it right there. It's intuitive. In previous iterations, we try to be clever and hook it up to the horn button or hook it up to a button on the steering wheel. Sometimes, you can buy these steering wheels with buttons. In all of these cases, it has, without fail, it has always not worked. These buttons, they fail, or you end up having some sort of grounding issue or whatever. Keep it simple. Running this cable along the steering column is not a big deal. At most, you're gonna put like 90 degrees of steering input in at the track, right? So just keep it really simple. Buy the kit with one of these buttons, Velcro it, and job done. Okay, so that's the push to talk button taken care of. Now let's talk about the driver connection. Here you have basically a choice between two options. One is called IMSA and one is called NASCAR. And it basically is determined by what this plug is and what plug the boom mic inside your driver's helmets are. And I'll show you the two options right now. So here's my helmet, and here's a boom mic that I have that is an IMSA connector. You'll see that this is a little stubby plug with 4 segments. And that is how you can tell it's IMSA. It's also black. Typically these are color coded in the sort of like race car radio world. Ultimately, this is a mic with a little earphone plug. This is just an 1/8 inch plug, and the IMSA plug. And you shove this inside your helmet. I'll show this on my helmet. I have a NASCAR boom mic installed. You can see here, this is the mic. It's right in front of my mouth, where my mouth is going to be. It's just shoved in here. It comes out here. You can add a little bracket with a rivet here in order to mount this a little neater, not required. This is where I plug in my headphones. They look like this. But really, I mean, any headphones will do. These are just foam ones, so they keep out a lot of the droning of the race car and other noises. You can use regular headphones if you don't want to spend the money. These are, for some weird reason, extraordinarily expensive. But you can use regular headphones if they work for you in terms of volume and other noises and noise reduction. You can also spend a lot of money and get like molded headphones. There are molding kits out there. Go nuts. But ultimately, once you're connected with the headphones and the microphone, then you use the plug, and that you can see the NASCAR plug. It's color coded red rather than black, and it's just a standard 1/4 inch plug like you would find on your old-timey record player or something like that on audio equipment. And then what happens is you just plug this in to your car harness like this. And now you're connected, right? And because the NASCAR plug is just a really commonly available plug, that's also why I prefer it. You can see that this plug has been messed up quite a bit because it actually at some point became disconnected from the helmet, and fell through a rust hole. This may go some way of explaining why I was so obsessed with fixing the rust holes in the Bitter Lemon floor pan, because it ended up basically almost damaging this plug. We were able to reuse it, but if we weren't, then it's just a matter of snipping this off and soldering on a standard 1/4-inch plug from an audio supply store, which is very easy. Whereas the IMSA plugs are just very, very different. I don't know where you would get them. If you have drivers that have some IMSA and then some drivers that have NASCAR, you can get adapters, and you can see I have one of each adapters. Again, they're color coded. Sometimes these adapters work and sometimes they don't. I generally hate these things. Again, if you can, try to standardize on one system. It really doesn't matter whether it's IMSA or NASCAR. I have had more luck with NASCAR, and I think also NASCAR is going to be more maintainable because of the standard plug, but that's just my opinion. Do what works best for you. But ultimately, that is essentially the entire system. All you need is this harness with the push-to-talk button and the NASCAR thing. You need the boom mic, and you need your earphones. Boom mic and earphones is per driver. This is per car, and typically these kits can come with that. See that you get a kit that comes with it. Lastly, we need to talk about the antenna solution. Now, it may work for you that just using this stubby antenna works inside the car and along these distances that you see at a track where the car can easily be a mile away from the pits. Your mileage may vary. You can try it. You can do it incrementally. What we found is that mounting a big honking antenna on the car works great. And so what we do is we basically thread the antenna off, and we put on an adapter, a plug here that it can be installed very easily. You can get it at any kind of radio supply store. If Radio Shack were still a thing, you could probably get it there, and it just goes to a standard BNC connector. From there, you can go to a standard coax cable. Again, you can buy these anywhere, and then to an antenna that you mount on the roof. And I'll meet you at the Bitter Lemon and show you what we've done there. Here we are at the Bitter Lemon. You can see here on the roof is the socket for an antenna. It is missing the whip right now. We'll talk about that in a second. I'll just show you what it looks like from the inside. And you can see it here. You just drill a 3/8 hole, and then you shove one part in from below, and you screw on this part of the antenna socket. It is called an NMO socket. So if you put that in and you look for that on Amazon or on eBay or a radio supply store, Marine Supply, you'll find something like that. And then at the other end of the antenna cable, this coax cable is the BNC connector that will easily plug into our radio. And you can route that. Just make sure you get an antenna with a long enough harness, a long enough coax cable, and you can mount your radio where you want to do it. You just route the cable along the cage. Now let's talk about the whip. That's the last piece of this puzzle, and also the last piece about these radios. We configure these radios to transmit on the MURS band. MURS, M-U-R-S, I think it stands for Multi-User Radio System or something like that. It is like CB in that it is unlicensed, so any amateur like us without a ham radio license can transmit on it. Don't take my work for that. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a ham radio expert. So this is just everybody should be on their own there as far as internet research is concerned. But basically, we've configured these radios to transmit on MURS. MURS is in the VHF band. And if you look it up, VHF, the best antennas for that would be about 8 feet long. That would be really impractical on a race car. It would be comically long. And so with the way it works with antenna lengths is that it is ideal to either double or half them to the point where you get to your ideal length. And so we just halved the 8 feet to 4 foot. It's still long, but it's totally manageable. So we have a 4-foot whip that goes in here. There's a little set screw. When we're not racing, we take it off. Actually, we take it off at the track already, so it doesn't get lost. And what we do is we just tape it to the cage, so it doesn't get lost. So that really concludes our recommendation for how to set up radios. Again, you spend about 100, 150 bucks on your harness. You spend maybe about that much again on your antenna and your whip and all that stuff if you have to. And then you spend as much as you want on your radios. You have to buy the boom mic for every driver. That's going to set you back between 50 and 100 bucks per driver, and then whatever solution they want to use for their earphones. All in all, it is not cheap, and you have to decide whether it is worth it for you and your team to have really good comms to the car. I can tell you this has worked for us, even at sort of the longest, farthest distances at the track. We have not had a problem getting good radio communication, and I think personally that is worth it for us. But you decide. In any case, I look forward to your comments. I'm sure there will be many, and thank you for watching. Thank you for watching this video about the Better Lemon, and remember to subscribe our channel.